So I'd like to talk about intercepts and how we can use them to graph lines. And then at the end, I'll show you how to come up with the equation of horizontal and vertical lines. So first off, what is an intercept? Well, an intercept, first and foremost, is a point. It's a point, an ordered pair, where a graph, and you can use the word crosses, intersects, I'll say crosses, and axis. So one of our two axes. Okay. So the x-intercept, right, is the point, I'm going to make a big deal about it, where the graph crosses the x-axis. So it intersects the x-axis. So the x-intercept crosses the x-axis, and remember the x-axis is the horizontal one. So for the x-intercept, the y value, so all along the x-axis, the y value is 0. So if we were asked to find an x-intercept, what we do is we set y equal to 0, and then we solve for x. So let's go ahead and practice with these three. So find the x-intercept. So here's my linear equation, and I recognize it's linear. I've got an x, I've got a y. They both have 1 as their exponent. So I leave my x's the same, I leave my numbers the same. I just put a 0 in for the y, and then see what happens. So 5 times 0 is 0, so it tells me that x equals -2. Now, right, I've been making a significant deal about that this is a point. X equals -2, that's not a point, so I need to write it as an ordered pair. So -2 is the x part, 0 is the y part for the x-intercept. Now you want to be careful if you're doing an online homework program. Sometimes they will prompt you with the parentheses, sometimes they're already there. Sometimes they will let you get away with just putting in the value for the x. I doubt they're going to let you do the x equals -2. That's just because that means something else that we'll talk about at the end of the video. Okay, next one, x-intercept. So x-intercept, y is 0. Leave everybody else the same. So 3 times x minus 8 times 0 equals 21. 8 times 0 is 0. So 3x equals 21. I'm kind of doing these, I'm going to do some steps in my head. I'm going to divide that 3. So x is 7. And again, write that as your ordered pair. So the x value is 7. The y value is 0. Okay, finally, let's see. So 0 in for the y. 0 equals 4x plus 16. Solving for x. So subtract 16 from both sides. Divide the 4. It looks like x is -4. And I know you're doing it already, so write that as the ordered pair. -4, comma 0. Okay, so x-intercept, y equals 0. So to find the y-intercept, right, it is the point where the graph crosses the y-axis. Y-intercept cross the y-axis. And then so for the y-intercept, the x value is 0. So if you think about the y-axis, right, the vertical one, all along the vertical axis, right, the x values are 0. So to find the y-intercept, we set x equal to 0 and then solve for y. There you go. Practice on, right, those same 3 lines. So x-intercept, I'm sorry, finding the y-intercept. And I'm going to kind of do a little, I'll do a slightly shorter way now that we've seen what happens to the y, right, when we did the x-intercept. Look what happened to the y term each time, right? X equals 5y minus 2. The y term goes away. X is -2. 3x minus 8y equals 21. Looking for the x-intercept. When we plug 0 in for y, that term goes away, and we have 3x equals 21. That's what we solved. Okay, so we're going to kind of do this, this kind of shortcut. So if I'm looking for the y-intercept, I know x is 0, and 0 times 4 is 0. So that term becomes 0, and I just get y equals 6. And then writing that as, right, its point. So 0 is the x part, and the y part we just found was 6. Okay, let's do the next one. Again, we're finding the y-intercept. I need my y to stay in the equation, so it's the x part that goes away. So 0 in for the x. So negative 8y equals 21. So I'm going to divide by negative 8. That tells me y equals, oh, that really ugly negative 21/8. That's okay. I'm just going to leave it like that. Well, okay, I'm going to write it as a point, 0, comma, negative 21/8. And then finally, y-intercept, 0 and 4x. So now I have 0 equals 5y minus 2. So solving that for y, I'm going to add the 2 to both sides. So 2 equals 5y. Divide by 5. So it looks like y is 2/5. So the point would be 0, comma, 2/5. Now, since intercepts are also, right, solutions to the equation and therefore points, right, on the graph, we can use those intercepts, right, as a way to graph the equation of the line. So let's go ahead and find the intercepts for these two lines, and then we'll use those to graph. I'm going to look around here. Oh, I've got a ruler and everything. Okay, here we go. So 4x minus 6y equals 12, so linear, x, y, first. So if I put a 0 in for x, it gets rid of that term. I have negative 6y is 12, so y is negative 2. So this is my y-intercept. To find the x-intercept, it's a 0 in for the y. So 0 for the y. So now I have 4x. So the 0 actually, it takes negative 6 times 0 is 0, so the negative sign's gone as well. So now I have 4x equals 12, so that would be x equals 3. So I have 2 points. So I have 0, negative 2, that's right here. And I have 3, 0, that's right there. Okay, 2 points on the line. I'm actually going to use a note card here instead of my big old ruler. So I'm just going to connect those two and draw a line through it. Remember the line, the graph represents all of the points, so it would be solutions, not just these two that we happen to find. Okay, next one. So this one, the y-intercept, is easy to find because it's already in slope-intercept form. So x is 0, y is negative 3. The x-intercept, we'll have to do a little algebra there to solve that. So we're going to put a 0 in for y. So 0 equals 0.5x minus 3. Add 3 to both sides. Divide both sides by 0.5. So x equals, you can go ahead and grab your calculator. You can trust me, it's 6. So 6, 0. Okay, so negative, or 0, negative 3, and 6, 0. So there are the 2 points, right? My intercepts also points on the graph. So go ahead and I plot those 2 points, and then I use a straight line to connect them. Okay, and there's the graph of all of the solutions to that equation. Oh, sorry, sorry, there was that arithmetic. Sorry, I didn't have that on there. Okay, so now let's go ahead and, oh, I guess I have two more to practice, and then we'll do horizontal and vertical. So if you want to pause and give those a shot on your own, that would be great. Otherwise, I'll meet you. So x-intercept, 0 for the y, y-intercept, 0 for the x. 0 for the y tells me x is negative 4. 0 for the x tells me y is, oh, so this, I have negative y equals negative 4, right? But I don't want negative y, I want positive y. So from this equation here, right, where the x is 0, what you do is you'd multiply both sides by negative 1, and that gives us a y of positive 4. So 0, 4, and negative 4, 0. Those are my 2 points. And we will connect those two. And there we go. Okay. And finally, if x is 0, y is 1, that was a nice one. And then the other one, if y is 0, I'll write that here, to thirds x plus 1. I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. And I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal of the x coefficient, right? So both sides get a 3/2 multiplying. Gives me x by itself on the right. And over there, I've just got negative 3/2. Okay, that's going to be kind of hard to plot, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. Negative 3/2. So that's negative 1.5. So kind of in there. And then we'll connect those two. So this might not be the most accurate graph. I probably would have, right, if we weren't talking about intercepts, I would have found it by plotting the y-intercept and counting off the slope. But that's okay. General idea. Make sure like up to 1, 2 over 3. That's pretty close. Okay, we'll make our dots bigger. Okay, now lastly, horizontal and vertical lines. I'm going to just kind of show you a strategy I have for these if you get confused about, well, which way does it go on these, right? You might remember from a different video, horizontal lines, the slope is 0. Vertical lines, the slope is undefined. We can still write the equation of them. We can write, right, there's a concise way to write the set of all of those points of the graph. So let's go ahead and take a look. So we're going to plot the point 5, 2. There's that. And then we're going to draw a horizontal line through it. So horizontal, side to side, like the horizon. Okay. Now, we know 1 point, 5, 2. Can you find 4 other points on that line? Right? And it doesn't matter what 4 you pick. Okay. But when we write those, right, so 3, 2, and 2, 2. What else did I write? Negative 1, 2, and negative 3, 2. And there are more, right? But what's the same about all of them? Yeah, exactly. The y value is 2. So that is how we describe all of the points, not just the ones that we found, but every single point on there has a y value equal to 2, right? This is why we couldn't leave that, right, our intercepts as x equals or y equals, because that means something else. That means the equation of a line. So horizontal lines are y equals. And if you're curious, this only works for the horizontal, not for the vertical. But remember, y equals mx plus b. And we know that for horizontal, m is 0. So the equation of the line is actually y equals b, the y-intercept. So if we look here, right, the y-intercept, 0, 2. Same, it fits. Okay. Now for vertical lines, it doesn't work quite as well doing that, but the other part, the walking through, so again, we're going to start at 5, 2. Now we'll draw a vertical line, that's up and down. Put my arrows on it so I know which one's the line and which one's the axis. Now find 4 more points on this line. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what do I have? I've got 5, 3. I've got 5, 4. I got 5, negative 1. And I've got 5, negative 2. Okay, and what's the same about all of these things? These points all have exactly x equal to 5. Okay, so in general, for horizontal lines, slope is 0, and the basic form is y equals whatever y equals, right? Whatever is the same for all of those. Vertical lines, the slope is undefined. And the basic form is x equals, right, whatever it is that x happens to equal.